Hi guys, Smile here, that girl from the Origin. Welcome to our second episode from Origin podcast, and we're super excited to have Michael here.
Through, she was the first female farmer to be part of the Tikuma group to actually export her coffee to the international market, which is great.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to Nesru.
Yeah.
I bet Nesru is going to open up the door for other female farmers.
That's true.
And the reality is women to the majority of the coffee business, and not just for ethical reasons. Like ethically, it's needed. They're needed, but as a business, as a business, you're trying to hire the best people to do the best job. Women just do better. Right? I mean, the reality is like we can't run our stations and our work without women.
That's not true. So investing in women is an investing into the community
It
and
is.
making your business profitable.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you don't think of it as an ethical way,
Yes.
even if you're just like selfish of running your business well,
Yeah, you would want to still have women.
you do.
Yeah.
You do. And we're seeing farmers broaden their horizon by being able to export directly, because the way we work as a service provider is the farmers know who their buyers are.
Yeah.
They know where the coffee is going to. They're making the relationships. I mean,
Yeah.
we help make those relationships, but they're building on those relationships,
Yeah.
which is really dope. A couple of the farmers have their own Instagram account. So I mean,
Who are they? Mention them. I want people to follow them.
Mansur Abahika has his own Instagram.
I'll put them
account.
down. Yeah.
Muhammad Abanura has his own. Abdul Qasim. More and more, they have their own Instagram accounts, and I think
Yeah, I chat with Mansoor sometimes.
which is great.
When I repost his pictures, like.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day is
Yeah.
the person that can tell their stories the best is themselves.
Themselves. And that's why we're here today, guys.
And-
Just
and-
a reminder, it's a platform from Origin to amplify the voices of the unsung heroes that you probably would never meet, but that we get to enjoy their fruits every day. Go
Exactly,
ahead.
exactly. And really shout out to a couple of the buyers,
Yeah.
people like Sweet Maria, Osito Coffee, Sukafina, Right Side Coffee, Condensa in Australia. They've been buyers of smallholder farmers coffees, which is really great. Doing a great job of promoting them.
Yeah.
And so again, shout out to them and
Shout out to all the buyers that buy their coffee ethically and create relationships and direct trade with smallholder farmers, so you can understand the efforts that they put in to deserve fair prices. But not only that, but also connect them on a human level.
Exactly.
You know?
I think that's the most important part.
Yeah. We've talked about a lot of things, and thank you so much for sharing that. But you mentioned something about, I was at the World of Coffee just last week, and it's so hard to see people from Origin. Like the presence of people from Origin is just very low because they still can't afford that. How do you see that impacting the bigger picture, or how do you see that impacting like the coffee world today?
I mean, it does impact it. I mean, unfortunately, just even if somebody can afford it, getting a visa is more of an obstacle for people from in the global south, not just Ethiopia, obviously.
Yeah, no, it's everywhere.
Yeah,
Even
everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah, Rwanda,
Yeah.
and the global south. I think having more exchange programs within the global south is vital, because Ethiopia can't stand by itself, Rwanda can't stand by itself, Kenya, maybe East Africa coming together is more helpful, but I think the global south coming together, doing more training, doing more exchange programs will be great. To have Mansour talk to a farmer in Rwanda, learn about different processes, because obviously these guys know coffee. They've been doing a great job. I mean, the farmers that we work with, their coffees are all 86 plus. But in terms of being there, learning, getting more knowledge of the industry is vital. So if you can
Absolutely.
physically go there, doing more exchange programs possible would be great for both sides. I think also for the industry in the whole industry, from the foreign side to the local side, I think
Yeah.
it'll be good. And also, I think
But we start from the grassroots.
we have to. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the key at the end of the
Absolutely.
day. I think none of us have a
I
business.
love that you brought that up as a solution to this, and I think going back to the question, really, like, it has impacted the coffee industry in a lot of ways, because I remember when I was 18 and I was attending Breakfast Symposium for the first time in Seattle or Portland. It's been a long time. I remember literally looking around and seeing about 10 people from Africa. I could count how many people were there, and I could count how many hundreds of other people from the global north that were present there. And I was very attentive. I was just still a baby in the
Yeah.
game, and I had the privilege to attend that when I won the RECO Fellowship Program by SCA, and every single thing that they were talking about was, oh, how can we make the lives of the farmers better? And I'm like, okay, yes, you can talk about this, but you are not the person that is living barefoot, walking miles and miles every day, carrying coffee cherries and the babies in the back. This person deserves a seat here to tell you how it is, how you can make their lives better. Like, we should create space or platform whereby we hear from the people that live the life more than it is for somebody to go and be the advocate, which is, I'm not against being a good advocate,
Yeah,
but what I'm
there's a lot
saying
of good
is you
advocates.
cannot, and there's amazing good advocates out there, but I feel like you connect a lot to the story when you hear from the person that goes through it.
For sure.
So I feel like that exchange program is number one. I've been involved in a lot of exchange programs lately, including, but they were only baristas, and I think with the Coffee Black exchange program, shout out to Bart.
Good job, yeah. And I think also with Coffee Black, which is great for myself. Growing up in Baltimore, which is predominantly an African American city, and being involved in the coffee industry for 20 years now, and you're starting to see small diversity now, especially after COVID, where for myself, I think human beings are amazing. Like but that being said, we want to see more women in coffee. We want to see more blacks in coffee. We want to see more Asians in coffee. We want to see the coffee industry look like the world. And I think we're seeing more of that. Slightly, right? It's growing, and I think we need to see more of that, and we need to see not just diversity, but transparency throughout the supply chain, because we always get buyers asking us to be transparent, which is totally important. But
are they being transparent?
Yeah, that's where it ends.
Yeah.
I think transparency ends in one side, which in the global south we have to fight for that, because I understand that the reality is importers make such a small margin. Like, importers are not making a bonanza.
Yeah.
The reality of it.
Please tell the word that,
they're
because
not.
we think you guys make a lot of bucks.
No, importers are, if the market goes up and down, the margins is basically the same, and they're trying to survive. But obviously there's a gap in the industry, because when we talk about all this sustainability, we're going to lose coffee. The reason that farmer doesn't have the incentive to plant more trees is because if he doesn't get paid, he's going to plant something else.
Yeah.
And then he or she
get
should.
potatoes, which they can actually eat.
And I think if you remember when you were in Ethiopia last time, when we were at Tebu's farm, Tebu Ababulgu is one of the farmers we worked with. His farm was very diversified. He had a lot of foods.
Oh, the one that we went to and we were eating sugarcane.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I remember that one. Mangoes, sugarcane,
different spices, pumpkin.
I saw that. I remember that.
And I think that's really important, because a lot of times, there's a lot of, again, amazing, kind people, and the kindest people that you meet just don't have the financial capacity to change the world. But they're the people that you want to work with all the time, because they're just amazing people.
That went straight to my soul. The most kindest people in the world that you meet, they don't have the capacity, the financial capacity to change the world, and that's true.
Yeah, but I think if we all come together, then we'll make a small change, right? Small changes will add up, and even with the government initiative, to allow smallholder farmers to export directly.
Yeah.
And
Without going through the exporters necessarily.
yeah. Again, like what I like about this is ownership is maintained. Again, we have zero access to their finance. The money is sent directly to their account, which should be the case, and then they pay us for our work.
Okay. Yeah. Like sourcing work.
They're paying us. They're paying us for the marketing, like
For the marketing.
the marketing, the quality control, the knowing.
And you
the
have
packaging.
a tool that you use as well. Isn't it Arcana?
We're with Arcana as
Yeah.
me. I'm personally a shareholder of Arcana.
Yeah.
Is a marketplace to connect smallholder farmers to
the
roasters, to
buyers.
buyers, and which is a great system which was developed inside of Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Which my friend Matt Thornton, who's an ex Sukafina guy, did a lot of the. He's the brains of the platform. But
Shout out to Matt.
shout out to Matt and the great work that Arcana is doing.
Yeah.
And I think more and more you're seeing more and more platforms that are trying to connect farmers to roasters.
Yeah.
But the reality, you still need importers. You need somebody to move the coffee.
Absolutely.
And they're
You need importers, you need exporters, you need all of
yeah,
that.
they're
You
vital.
need everybody.
They're vital. So I
Yeah.
think you see some people saying they want to try to cut out a lot of people, but I think the people in the industry are vital to making the industry work. Without an importer, you're not going to get the bag of Masur to the roaster. So unless the roaster is the actual importer.
I think that's the reality that we tend to forget, and I'm so thankful that you brought it up, because like for me as well, like I've been working on a lot of different sustainability solutions to a lot of different sustainability issues that I've identified, and one of them being like something like Arcana, but that also with the goal, I want to minimize how many people that we have. But you just said something really powerful, like if you don't have an importer, whether you have that digital platform, you still need an importer,
For
you still
sure.
need an exporter, you still need this data collector to be at the site, you still need farmers, you still need
Yeah,
everybody
you
in
need
between.
for sure.
You
Like
can only change the way they work, but they're still going to be there.
yeah, I mean for us, I mean running our washing station,
Yeah.
having farmers that deliver cherry to us, we would love to get all our coffees directly from farmers. But the reality is we need suppliers.
Yeah.
We can't run a sustainable business without the suppliers.
That's
And suppliers are also the suppliers that we have when you were talking about community.
Yeah.
We try to employ local people because it's really important. Even just even me as an Ethiopian American, but you know Ethiopia is a very diverse country with different ethnic groups, with different languages, with different communities. Where the first thing that we did was try to learn the culture.
Which
try
is
to-
coffee. And
What?
coffee makes you one.
Yeah, but also
How
that
many tribes do you have here?
I believe 80 plus.
80 tribes?
I believe there's
Does
eight,
that make
I
80?
believe there's 80 different languages. So the tribes
80,
made
okay, that makes
80,
it,
80
yeah.
different languages. But there's
Wow.
but also just respecting people's communities
yeah.
and understanding what they need. Like one of the projects that we did locally was to help support a school, and really it was telling the story, and buyers really helped. Another again, shout out to Sweet Maria, who
Shout out
helped.
to Sweet Maria.
Shout out to Osito Coffee,
And Osito.
Kafa roasters in Helsinki.
Yeah.
So just by word of mouth, we helped raise roughly $30,000 for the school, and it was first learning, talking to them and seeing what they need. Not for us to say, sometimes people donate laptops, but there's no electricity in that area. That's really what they needed. And for the first case was these 3 cooperatives built a school
Yeah.
with their own cash. And when they did that, there was school blocks, which cost roughly $50,000 each. And they did it with their own cash, not a handout from anybody, not fair trade,
Yeah.
because they wanted to make an impact on their children. So they had the school, but there was no supplies. So they needed chairs through the help of different coffee
Other
buyers
people,
and different buyers and people in the community helped get chairs for the school. Then they needed bathrooms, especially with young women needing like sanitary pads. But the first time they have their like periods is that they just don't come to school. and that area is also predominantly a Muslim area where it's a very important, if you have bathrooms, to have it very far apart.
Yeah.
And so I think being part of that community, and we have, which is really beautiful in coffee, we have a mosque right in front of the Tilio site. So we have the imams coming, and I'm a Christian, and they come to our site, they pray for us. You see a lot of love, even with all the challenges.
Yeah.
I think the purity that you still see in Origin is pretty powerful and beautiful.
It's just amazing how we keep using coffee as a force for good, and without necessarily impacting only people that are necessarily in the industry. As much as we want to help farmers, right? But we also want to help their children because they're the future of the industry.
For sure, and the community, the community.
It's a whole community,
Yeah.
and also like. And I believe that's how you also inspire people to step in, like the lady that you were talking about, and me working with women coffee growers in Rwanda back then. I remember
Which is awesome. I see the work that you're doing, which is amazing.
Thank you so much. I remember asking, that co-op started as, there were about 34 women, and then within like a year and a half or 2 years, there were already 256.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, how were you able? And it's like, yeah, I mean, if they see me going to work every day, planting coffee, taking care of the trees, during the season, I'm able to buy a kitenge, which is like an African attire that they wear there. She's gonna want to do the same to change her life. She's not gonna still want to sit there and wait for her husband, who is probably not even going to provide as much as she needs. Or she's not going to go and always carry the baby and be digging or farming for other people. So they were able to inspire a lot more women in their community just by the good work that they were doing.
For sure.
So I think coffee is such a powerful thing. Not only is it a delicious drink, but it's also a way of life.
For sure. I totally agree.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, for that. I have a few more questions before we close down. With everything that you said, where do you see the coffee industry in Ethiopia heading? And how do you see it ensuring the sustainability of it?
I think I'm positive. I'm optimistic about the coffee industry in Ethiopia. I know the government has, we always need to do more, but more trees have been planted. Research Center does a really good job of actually giving good varieties to particular areas with initiatives of allowing farmers to export directly. I'm optimistic about the industry. Obviously, challenges again with different regulations that can come, like the EU deforestation. Those will be obstacles, but I'm still optimistic about it, and also I'm optimistic about infrastructure work that's being done, particularly in our area where we operate in Agaro Gera area. The roads are all asphalt now. Up to Agaro is asphalt. Up to most of the farmers where we work with is being asphalt. It's going to be all asphalt to Gera. So literally, for anybody that wants to visit, a 35-minute flight from Addis to Chima, then to get to Agaro, 30-minute drive now.
You heard that.
Better infrastructure, better hotels, and I think generally speaking is.
I personally have been there. I'm not gonna lie.
So it's gonna get better. Like I think those areas, like anybody, any human being wants a better life for their family and their children and their community, and I think having those infrastructures will be good, and also it seems like. The government of Ethiopia is opening up the market, so for foreign investment. So I hope that also helps to bring in more resources and income to the country.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome.
Two more last questions. The second last will be: what would you tell anyone looking forward to start a coffee career or professional in the coffee industry, given every single moment that you've had for the past 20 years around the coffee?
Being in coffee, I don't have hair, but if I did have hair, I would probably lose it because I think it's a very challenging industry in a lot of ways. There's a lot of things that's outside of your control. And there's different reasons why people do coffee, but I think to be sustainable in it, I think you still have to love what you do, and love the people that you work with.
Yeah.
So I would say have passion for it. I think that'll be the biggest thing. So you can be, even with all the challenges, and it makes you